And the recording has started. Cool. So, hey, everybody. My name is Mickey. I am one of the release lead shadows for the 1.29 release. And welcome to our week 13 release team meeting. This is a meeting that's governed by the CNCF Code of Conduct, which in essence means just be good to everybody. So to kick it off, let's jump down to the open discussions. Seems like we just have the usual on here. Please remember to add your comments and suggestions regarding the release process to the 1.29 retro doc. As always, that's hugely important to do, and it's really good fodder for us to make improvements. Anything not in the discussion section that someone would like to bring up? Okie dokie. So let's jump down to updates. For enhancements. Nina, are you on?
Yes, yeah, I can give the update today. So our status is green. Nothing has really changed metrics wise. Our two updates are we have a document up for adding the exception requests for the code freeze and the enhancement freeze up. So we're adding all of those there. And then I also created an umbrella issue for some handbook improvements that's linked in the retro doc.
Awesome, thank you. And I would just say, as like kind of an open suggestion to everybody, in addition to providing updates in the release retro doc, looking for opportunities for handbook improvements or for other documentation updates is a super important thing for us to do release after release. So keep in mind areas of improvement that you've noticed during the release cycle. Are there any questions for the enhancements group? All right, moving on to CI signal.
Yeah, so we're green, but it's probably more of a yellow green. We have one failure on master blocking, but it's been a failure for multiple releases at this point. So we've kind of deemed it as somewhat non-blocker, but mostly because we haven't even received a response yet. So the team that maintains it hasn't really looked at it yet, but it does seem to be very environmental specific to GCP. And so we're not too worried about it with this release, but ideally it gets fixed eventually. So we're green, but we're watching that. And then we have one new flake that showed up this morning that I've linked in the doc. I'm creating the ticket right after this meeting. And so we need to look into that one. It hasn't passed since it showed up. So we just need to make sure that that gets resolved, but it's in master informing as well. So also not a blocker. So yeah, and then we have a couple other flakes that we've been tracking for a while that are continuing to be flaky, but those ones are being looked at. So we're less concerned about that. But I think this is probably flakier than we're comfortable with long term with the amount we're tracking right now, but we still think we're green at this point.
Okay, that's good to know. Yeah, I think it'd be definitely good to try to sync up with the SIG release folks or whomever's the release info folks are to try to figure out this longer term. Thank you guys for being on top of that. Any questions for CI signal? All right, on to bug triage.
Hi everyone. The status is currently green. The publishing plot is fixed, so we don't have any more blocking issues for the release. No more major updates other than those.
Okay, thank you. Any questions for bug triage? All right, on to docs. Drew, I see someone is frantically typing under docs right now. Take it away.
Yeah, so things have been kind of rapidly changing, but looks like we are green. We had our deadline yesterday to make sure that all of the KEPs have the required documentation and have merged that in. So fortunately, we have passed that threshold. We have another upcoming deadline for some fix-up PRs to get merged, but it looks like that is the day before release, according to SIG docs. So there are two of those PRs that are open. One is going to change its destination in Maine, effectively decoupling from the release, and the other one is awaiting approval.
Awesome. I know you guys were yellow until recently, so it's very great to see this switch to green. So thank you so much. Any questions for SIG docs? Excuse me, not SIG, sub-team docs?
I have a quick one. So, are these fix-up PRs? We are expecting more to come during this cycle, or what exactly these fix-up PRs are? Just trying to understand. The number will change at some point before our release date, or um, this is going
I
to
don't think
stay.
I'm going to let anybody open any more of these. Personally, one of them, Tim, opened last night,
Okay.
and it's updating some docs to the NF tables change. So yeah, I'm if anybody tries to open another one, I'm going to tell them like target main or wait for the next release. But the one that is awaiting approval, I've already reviewed it and given it LTDM, and it is Tim's PR. So
Good.
yeah,
Sounds good. That's all.
And is
Thank
the one
you.
that Tim opened, is that mapped to 129 specifically, or should that target main?
looking at it, it is mapped to 129 specifically. I don't see why it couldn't also just target main personally, but if we can get it in with 129, it's literally just waiting for approval from Nate, who's the
Oh,
PR
okay.
wrangler this week. So I think that one's fine to stay.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you, Kat.
All
right, on to release notes. Federico.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yep, we can.
Perfect. So status is green. We have already opened and initially reviewed the RC1 draft release notes from yesterday's release. It is waiting for a LGTM from the release managers. And on top of that, and looking into the final release dates, we are preparing the final aggregated review of the final document with an assortment of small fixes, and also the addition of the major themes and of the known issues section, which is one so far. And that's it from the release notes.
Great, thank you. Any questions for release notes? Okay, on to comms. Kristen, are you on?
Yep. Hi, it's Kristen. Our current status is yellow. We have 8 feature blogs in review. Publication order change has been proposed to move the entry cloud provider removal blog to the first position. And we need to coordinate with the authors of that PR as there's still active discussions on the PR to update some of the content. We added a commit to address the feedback on our release blog. We also sent out requests yesterday to some of the remaining SIGs that we need to get content for the release blog. We are working with CNCF to schedule the webinar currently scheduled for 12:15. We need to send them the title, abstract, and speaker names. And then we're also scheduling the press interview for the release. And we need to send them the themes and some additional info they've requested. So that's our update.
All right, thank you. Do you need any help gathering the themes, or are the themes already all set?
We may need some assistance there. Yes.
Okay. Yeah, please feel free to reach out. I know that Priyanka asked me to step in for some of the conversations regarding the release comms. So
right, because it was a time zone issue. Yeah. So I will reach out. Thanks.
Okay, great. Yeah, and the one thing I would add is just because I'm not quite as well versed in the release as Priyanka is, so if any sort of notes that you have regarding key points we want to address during those interviews, please pass them on to me because that would be helpful.
Okay, thanks.
Cool, thank you. Any questions for comms?
Not a question, just a comment. We actually were discussing getting feedback on the major themes or the 3 themes that we want to highlight. So if anyone has any input on that, or want to add any input, please provide that. I think release comms would be the channel for that, and Mickey and I can take a look at that. That would really help us a lot. So thank you.
Thanks.
All right. And then release branch management. Jim, are you on?
Yep, I'm here. I just realized I kind of duplicated what Priyanka has, so I'm not going to steal her thunder here. So it was a little bit rough coming into this meeting, but things have kind of shaken out or cleared up, and we're still on track for the December 5th release. And I'll pass it on to the next folks.
Awesome. Thank you very much. I'm sure Bianca will give us some more information there, but that is great to see. And on to our emeritus advisor, Xander.
Yeah, the only thing that I have this morning is we've opened the nomination issue for selecting the 130 leads. Couple on there already, so congratulations to Grace, the EA for 130, and Kat, who will be our release lead for 130. And Drew will be the docs lead. So yeah, huge congratulations to everyone that is there. Release or role leads, just make sure you confirm with me before you add your successor to this issue. But I've already given the thumbs up to some of you that don't have it there yet. So whenever you get a chance, yeah, it's always an exciting time in the release to see the new names pop up. So yeah, thanks again, everyone.
Very cool. Thank you, Xander. Any questions for Xander? All right, then on to our release lead, Priyanka.
Thank you, and congratulations once again. My updates are same to what Jim mentioned. RC1 is live. Publishing board was failing for a long time now. That's fixed. So we have our RC0 and RC1 tags available on our staging repos. That's fixed. That also unblocked us for our final release cut. So we are good there. And finally, our release theme logo are added to our release docs. We are calling our theme Mandala Universe. So the logo is there on our release 129 repo. Please check it out, and I hope you like it.
Very, very cool. Thank you, Priyanka.
And
one question from my
that's all
end
from
is,
me.
we had the question regarding the tags, the RC0 and RC1 tags, and the fact that that could delay the release. Do we need to document that, or would it be worth documenting that as sort of a release blocker?
Well, it was a one-off thing. I believe I will leave that to maybe Jim if he has more context on from the release engineering side on that. But I feel like this was a one-off thing because publishing board was failing, and that is the board that actually publishes those tags. So, Jim, do you have any more comments there? Like, is this something that we should document in our handbook?
Yeah, so I don't know enough about it yet just to make that call. It looks like it is a one-off issue. It looks like it was a freak incident, but I'm going to deep dive with Jeremy on exactly like the root cause and see if there is some sort of repeatable pattern. It sounds like DIMS has a way to remediate, if not completely avoid this in the future. So it does sound like completely like out of scope or unrelated to the release process. But at the same time, I want to understand a little bit more before making that call saying like no or yes.
Okay, sounds good. Yeah, I think what I was thinking about is mostly just that we had that Slack thread about it, and it was determined that tags themselves are pretty instrumental for a lot of folks that build their releases based off of the Kate's release. So I wasn't sure if that was worth documenting, but it sounds like this might be a non-issue moving forward.
Another thing is, I think the folks who were working on the fix right now, the current fix is a bit of a temporary fix, and they are working on bringing like a more stable fix. Maybe that will solve it for maybe like some time properly. But I'll keep an eye on that. If that does not go in, maybe I'll raise a issue, tracking
Okay.
issue on seg release, and we can then take a call on documenting it, or maybe just having it there as a resource.
Sounds good. Thank you. And then SIG scalability, do we have anybody on? Okie dokie. Is there anything else that anyone would like to share before we stop the recording? Cool. Well, if not, thank you, everybody.